In this project, I want to try to model and simulate simple binary adders, half adders, full adders, 2-bit adder, and a 3-bit adder. This is what a half adder looks like, and I'll show how to construct this. And this is what a full adder looks like, and I'll explain all the parts. And this is what a 2-bit adder looks like. And just for grins, there's what a 3-bit adder looks like. So my inspiration for this video came from watching this YouTube video on how to build a 4-bit adder. This is Ben Eater building a 4-bit adder. It's a very cool video, but I can't do that. I'm always amazed that people can take a diagram like a binary adder, and then they go out, buy the parts, and then they build the thing. Well, I can't do that. I've tried, and I just get electrocuted. So I just don't do it. On the other hand, when I see these logic circuits over there with all those logic gates, that makes me smile. That I can do. I can simulate and model that logic circuit with software, and so can you, without injuring anyone. Okay, let's start first with what I call the lazy adder. You haven't heard of the lazy adder, and that's because, well, it doesn't do very much. Here's the lazy adder. There's two inputs, A and B on the left in green. Normally my inputs are always in green, and there's the output in blue. Normally my outputs are in blue, and it can add 0 and 1, 1 and 0. It cannot add 1 plus 1, because 1 plus 1 is 10 in binary, and that requires bigger representation than what the XOR can do. There's the truth table for XOR. So you can see that it can do the first 3 lines easily, but the last one, well, it doesn't really know what to do. So the lazy adder can do those first 3. It can add 0 plus 0, 0 plus 1, 1 plus 0, but not 1 plus 1, since it needs help to carry the 1. That's what makes it lazy. It won't carry the 1. So there's 1 plus 0, and there's 0 plus 1, but 1 plus 1, well, it needs help. To summarize, those are the 3 numbers that the lazy adder can do, but that's not enough. To the rescue, the half adder. The half adder can add 1 plus 1 equals 10 in binary. That's the truth table for half adders. It can only add 2 1-bit numbers, A and B, and outputs 0, 1, or 2, but of course in binary. And in binary, you need to carry the 1. So what do we have? There's the truth table, and there's the truth table for XOR, and here's the truth table for AND. So we're going to connect all that to the inputs, and let's see how we do that. So again, let's see. There's the half adder logic diagram. There's the truth table, and there's the result. It's that simple. All you do, you just connect the 2 inputs, A and B, to XOR and AND. Let me show in a detailed way what connects to what. All right, so here is a fuller version of the half adder. So the inputs are there. The brain of the thing is there in the middle, and the output is on this side. That's what I like about modeling, because it shows the internal state of things. With the half adder logic diagram, it's nice, but you don't get to see what states are possible for A and for B, and you don't get to see what the states are for the logic gates. There is the half adder, and I'm going to do one more thing. This you won't see very often, but I don't like to convert binary digits into decimal in my head. So I'm going to get my little program here to do it for me. Now, you might think this is ridiculous, and it is for small numbers, but you'll see that for bigger numbers, that gets to be an issue. All I do is I take the sum and I convert to a decimal. So there we've got 1 plus 1 equals 2. Very good. And here we've got, well, this will confuse you, and this is a footnote, so you could skip ahead and sort of ignore, but there's a reason why we have to move on to the full adder. you will notice that technically the sum and the carry could represent 3, because 3 is simply 1, 1. But there's no way of reaching that with the current inputs. You need an extra input. So that's important to know that, because that's kind of the motivating reason for the full adder. The output can represent more than what the inputs can do. There's the binary, or there's the truth table for carry and sum, and you'll notice where the little red dot is, that output, though it can be represented by carry and sum, cannot be reached given the two inputs that we've got, right? We now want to be able to add 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 11. The half adder can't do that since there's an extra bit coming in, and the half adder has only 2 inputs, A and B. But we can join the 2 half adders together and get full adder. It's a little scarier, but really it's not. Nothing to fear. This is a schematic diagram for the full adder using half adder. I got it from Electronics Coach. It's a very nice website, by the way. So a full adder can also be designed using 2 half adders and 1 OR gate. The sum of the digits can be obtained as the output from the second half adder, while the OR gate will generate the carry obtained after addition. Now, this is a good schema, but what does it mean in actual practice? What connects to what? This looks very intuitive, but when you start connecting things, it's not immediately clear what connects to what. So let me show you. Okay, here's the first half adder, and there's the second half adder. Now, what do? Well, we're going to need to connect them somehow. What do? Well, we're going to connect the sum to the input of the other adder, right? The sum that's coming out from the other adder. And we're going to change the name of the input of one of them. We could do any, but I've chosen the upper one. And we'll change that one to C in, okay? So now, what do? There we go. Since the output of one goes to the input of the other, we can just connect them directly. So now that's looking more like a familiar full adder. So we will stretch out the C in, and that way the input is on the left, and in the middle is the full adders, or the half adders rather. But also, we need to do one more thing. Exactly. We've got 2 carries, so we've got to choose one or the other. And how do we do that? Well, I just said it, right? We're going to take a carry from one or the other, so we connect them with an OR gate. So now we've got this. So we've got the input in green on the left, we've got the adder in the middle, and then we've got the sum and the carry in blue on the right. Now, as you know, I don't like to convert stuff in my head. So of course, I'm going to convert the binaries into decimal. And that's what I do over there. So, and that's very easy. Let me just show you. This is a little footnote. All I do there is I have a lookup table. And the lookup table simply looks at the sum and the carry. And then I've connected it to the numbers 0, 1, 2, and 3. And that's it. So that's what it looks like. Okay, so it's adding 0 plus 0 plus 0. There's adding 0 plus 0 plus 1, and 0 plus 1 plus 0, 0 plus 1 plus 1, 1 plus 0 plus 0, 1 plus 0 plus 1, and 1 plus 1 plus 0, and finally 1 plus 1 plus 1. Oh my God, all that work just to add 3 binary digits. Now we can move on to the 2-bit adder. A little scarier, but not by much. To remind you, here's the first adder. This is a full adder. And here's the other full adder. And we connect them in exactly the way you would expect. And the way you would expect is by connecting the output of one to the input of the other. And there you've got your 2-bit adder. So there it is, fully connected. That's a 2-bit adder. One problem, for me. Right? There's the output. The output is in binary. No, 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 no. All right. I'm going to create another lookup table now for this binary. And there's my new lookup table. And this lookup table now will convert the binary into a decimal output. And that way I can see what's going on. And that's my way of checking that this stuff actually works. Moving on. This is what we've got. It'll come as no surprise that, yes, I'm going to do that for the input, okay? Don't give me a hard time about it. But there, on the left, over here, where is it? Ah, there it is. It's over here. That is the decimal input for the inputs. That's the brain. And over here is the decimal output. All the work is being done in the middle. Will this work? Will this work? Let's give it a test drive. Okay, so there's 0 plus 0, 1 plus 0, 2 plus 0, 3 plus 0, 0 plus 1, 1 plus 1, 2 plus 1, 3 plus 1, and 3 plus 2, 2 plus 2, 1 plus 2, 0 plus 2, 0 plus 3, 1 plus 3, 2 plus 3, and finally 3 plus 3. It works. Hooray. Now, it will have occurred to you, oh, wait a minute, what about this 7? How do you get to 7? Well, recall that in the first place there, I have 2 full adders. Technically, you could have had a half adder and then a full adder. So if you have a full adder, that means that you've got this C in here. Now, if you toggle that C in and you put 1 in the first place, then what you're actually doing is you're adding 1 plus 3 plus another 3, and then you get 7. That's how you get 7. Okay, moving on. So one more little footnote. If you put, or rather if you leave the inputs blank and you don't put anything, you might wonder, well, what do these numbers reflect here? What's this 25, 25, 25%? Well, all that means is that if I were throwing, say, a 4-headed coin to decide what input I'm going to do, right? They're all equally likely, and so is input B. They're equally likely to come up either 0, 1, 2, or 3. On the other side, what this means is that there's only one way of getting 0, 2 ways of getting 1, 3 ways of getting 2, 4 ways of getting 3. And then we come back to the 3 ways of getting 2 and 2 ways of getting 5 and only 1 way of getting the sum 6. And as it stands, no way of getting 7. Why? Because the C in is set to 0. If I were to set that to, as I do here, now you can see that 0 can no longer be reached, but 7 can be, right? 1 has been set and 0 can no longer be reached, but 7 can be. Everything's been displaced. So there you have it. And of course, the 3-bit adder. That looks a whole lot scarier, but again, it's really very simple. There's a 3-bit adder. Here, it's in the process of adding 2 plus 3 equals 5, right? And once again, as usual, I always have decimal converters. Notice something here. I've put the full adders vertically. So there's the full adder there, and then a full adder there, and a full adder there. How do they connect? They connect in exactly the way you would expect. There's the carry out from one to the carry in to the other, and the carry out from the second to the carry in of the third. And there's a 3-bit adder. And a final footnote, a final observation, you will notice that if the initial C in is set to 1, as it is over here, then 0 cannot be reached. So, helpful web pages. There's Electronic Coach, which is very helpful, and then there's the wiki. And if you're wondering where does she come from, well, she comes from over here. She's a little shy. Okay, until next time.